Now, Paul Ryan claims to be a good Christian. Claims. Now, it seems like his policy ideas don't exactly match up to what it means to be a good Christian. For example, his votes to take away health care for millions of Americans, try to destroy the ACA, or to take away Medicaid, or to privatize Social Security, and eliminate these so-called entitlement programs, which, by the way, you know why they're entitlements? Because you're entitled to it. You pay into it, that's your money. Now, not only that, but the newest plans to get rid of welfare and to give giant tax cuts to the rich. Now, all this stuff is actually incredibly cruel to people who are poor. That's something that Christians are supposed to care about. Now, his latest move should also inform you of his supposed Christian values. Now, apparently Speaker Ryan, according to different news reports, has now fired the chaplain of the House of Representatives. Well, that's interesting. Now, this is Reverend Patrick Conroy. Now, Conroy is a Jesuit priest who has served in that position since 2011. Now, apparently he had sent a letter, which was obtained by NBC News, which read, "As you have requested, I hereby offer my resignation as the 60th chaplain of the United States House of Representatives. The position is one which I did not seek nor strive to assume, but I have seen it as a blessing, and I have considered it one of the great privileges of my life." Okay, so look, he's stepping down. What's wrong with that? Well, what's wrong is the reason. So let me get into the question of why. So right now, we really don't know the reason. And Paul Ryan hasn't given a reason. And look, Conroy himself has no idea. In fact, he tells the Washington Post that, quote, "I was asked to resign. That was clear. As for why, that is unclear. So I don't know why he decided to ask me to resign. I did so because, again, I never really wanted the job to begin with, but I was happy to serve. And then, so I'm not going to fight this, but nonetheless, I have no idea why he fired me, why he asked me to resign." So he said, "I certainly wasn't giving anything in writing." And he said, "Catholic members on both sides, because of this, happen to be furious. In fact, I've got a couple of them here. Representative Joe Crowley said the move was outrageous. Walter Jones, is a Republican from North Carolina, said it's just a sad commentary in America in the House that is supposed to be here, or supposed to be the House of the people. If we want to protect freedom of speech, a prayer here, then where are we going to protect it?" So he's obviously framing this as a First Amendment issue, which is an interesting tack to take, but nonetheless. Now, furthermore, Conroy said he received the news from Ryan's chief of staff. So here's what happened. Father Conroy recalled being told the speaker would like your resignation. And he, of course, complied. So, with that out of the way, let's get into some speculation about what actually happened. During a prayer about the GOP tax bill that he offered on the House floor in November of 6 of 2017, before the legislation was passed and signed into law by President Trump, he said this, quote, "As legislation on taxes continues to be debated this week and next, may all members be mindful that the institutions and structures of our great nation guarantee the opportunities that have allowed some to achieve great success, while others continue to struggle." He said, "May their efforts these days guarantee that there are not winners and losers under new tax laws, but benefits balanced and shared by all Americans." So that's what he said on the tax law. He's basically saying, look, I hope this tax bill is fair to everybody and not just the rich. Well, we know that thanks to different studies, CBO estimates, and all that, that a majority of the benefits of the tax cuts did not go to all Americans. It was nowhere near balanced. In fact, 83% of the gains ended up going to the very rich and corporations. Now, who would be against that? Other than, of course, progressives, liberals, a majority of the American people, it would also happen to be Jesuit priests. Now, Conroy, as I said before, is a Jesuit priest. Do you know who else is a very well-known Jesuit? That would be Pope Francis. Now, Pope Francis has made a few headlines talking about the evils of unfettered capitalism. and how, of course, the world has made an idolatry of money and Wall Street. I think we might have an explanation here of why Paul Ryan is not exactly in favor of this specific priest. Now, I want to give you a couple of specific quotes here from the Pope to kind of show you what the Jesuits sort of believe in, since there seems to be a little bit more of a liberal branch of Catholicism. Now, Francis said, quote, "Behind all this pain, death, and destruction, there's the stench of what Basil of Caesarea called the dung of the devil." Oh, that's interesting. He said, "An unfettered pursuit of money rules. The service of the common good is left behind. Once capital becomes an idol and guides people's decisions, once greed for money presides over the entire socio-economic system, it ruins society. It condemns and enslaves men and women. It destroys human fraternity. It sets people against one another. And as we clearly see, it even puts at risk our common home." So that is the biggest, I guess the most well-known Jesuit talking about, hey, look, our socioeconomic system in America, and yes, he was making these comments, I believe, in either Bolivia or Brazil. I believe it was Bolivia, talking about global capitalism, saying that it's basically what happens as a result of the of unfettered capitalism is the stench of the dung of the devil. So, look, man, I think that would be a pretty accurate description. I may not be a religious person, but there is something here that stinks about our economic system and capitalism all across the world. The exploitation that's going on. The wars for profit, for oil, for example, in the Middle East. Things like that. So, yeah, I would agree. Now, it just so happens that the Jesuit teachings and these specific quotes, not only from Father Conroy and, of course, Pope Francis, are not in line with the Catholic teachings that Paul Ryan believes in. In fact, about a week after that prayer, Father Conroy said he had heard from the speaker's office. He said a staffer came down and said, "We are upset with this prayer. You are getting too political." Oh, no, you're getting too political. You're getting too political, guys. You gotta tone down the politics, right? And he says, "It suggests to me that there are members who have talked to him about being upset with that prayer." Oh, so Republican members very upset about that prayer? I wonder which ones. Could it be like most of them, all of them? The ones who absolutely love tax cuts for the rich and getting rid of entitlements and welfare programs that benefit the poor? Now, he said, shortly after when he saw Mr. Ryan himself, Father Conroy said the speaker told him, "Padre, you just got to stay out of politics." Now, here's his answer. Quote, "That is what I have tried to do for 7 years. It doesn't sound political to me. If you're a hospital chaplain, you're going to pray about health. If you're a chaplain of Congress, you're going to pray about what Congress is doing." And again, Congress has a huge impact in passing policy that impacts economic inequality. For example, these tax cuts, the Trump tax cuts, have increased economic inequality. 83% of the gains, as I said before, went to the rich. And of course, most of the companies that have gotten that money have already used it not on creating jobs or raising wages, but on buying back their own stocks on the stock market, therefore inflating the stock market while actually creating no actual real-world value. So that would appear to be a little bit of a problem. So look, on that prayer, I've got no problem with that. But see, Paul Ryan doesn't want your prayers if they're about helping poor people. And it's because Paul Ryan doesn't care about helping poor people. His version of Christianity, I believe it's Calvinism, is one where if you're poor because you're an immoral person. And if you're an immoral person, well, then you're not deserving of help. You're not deserving of assistance. You're not deserving of anything. You deserve to wallow in your poverty until you get right with the Lord. That's what these people believe in. No, if you're poor, if you're struggling financially in the richest country in the world, then you deserve to be poor. It must be something that you're doing wrong. You're not working hard enough. You're not doing enough to earn that money. You're not good enough for that money. You were born poor. You deserve to stay poor. Unlike me. Because, you know, it's the irony about Paul Ryan is that he collected Social Security benefits until he was at least 18. And used that money to get an education. So he used his survivor benefits, Social Security survivor benefits, in order to get ahead. And now that he's gotten ahead, I'm pretty sure he believes that, no, you don't understand. I'm a moral person. That's why I've done so well. That's why I got that money. That's why I got that head start. Because I'm just a more moral person. But you, all you other people out there that are getting these entitlements, well, you're not moral people. You're stuck in poverty. That's because you deserve it because you're not a good person. You're not a moral person. That's what Paul Ryan believes. Which seems to be obviously the opposite of what Jesus actually taught. Jesus actually taught that wealth and how you get wealth is not a good thing. He's the kind of person that would, walk up in the temple with a whip and start whipping the bankers. I think we need to go back to that Jesus. But now, anyway, that said, I'm not a religious person, so I'm just going to say it. Why do we even have a chaplain in Congress to begin with? Don't we have a separation of church and state? Shouldn't we have that? Again, your religion, even if you do use it to do good, which obviously this guy seems to be, it still doesn't belong in government. And again, there's a lot of people who use their religion to do good, but it doesn't mean it should be in government. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.